Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening. It seemed like that's my mistake. I clicked over to something else. I'm sorry. So anyway, I apologize. Welcome to an amazing episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host.
Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everybody.
And we have another amazing show for you tonight. For some reason, I am in another mode. I don't know what's going on with my Zoom.
What's wrong?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, we have an amazing lineup, and Rhonda's back, which she hasn't been here for a while. So I told her it felt like it'd been forever since I had seen her. And I'm sure you all are feeling the same way. So we are really anticipating a really amazing show. We have a lineup of amazing guests like we always do. So Rhonda, I may need to get you to do more the co-hosting duties for me tonight.
No problem.
Yeah, I might need you to do that because my computer's doing something strange. So anyway, couple of things. The voting for the Black Authors Matter TV Awards show process, it started April 15th. It ends the 29th. We've had amazing participation, already over 2,000 ballots cast. So
Nice.
yeah, we have another week to go. It ends next Tuesday at midnight. So vote for your favorites, and you'll see who wins. The award show is May 13th. So that's going to be an amazing night like we always have. Also, the National Black Book Festival is 72% sold in terms of vendor space. So if you're planning to attend, please don't delay. Get your registration in. And we want to take a minute and a half just to mention the concept of cutting corners and how it doesn't benefit you in the long run. Rhonda, can you mention just one thing you had said today about ChatGPT?
Yeah. So for those of you who may have missed it, if you follow me on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, you may have seen that I did a really comedic post about people who think that it's easy to write a book. All you have to do is just use ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a great tool. I love AI, and I've never made it a secret that I love using AI. However, AI should be used as a writing assistant. It should never be used as a ghostwriter. And AI, I don't care what you use, Claude, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, or whatever it is never going to take the place of the heart that you put into your work. It's never going to put the soul in and the emotion in. It's never going to do that. And it also is an insult to the literary industry when you use it to take the place of your hard work. So I do a whole class, and if anybody wants information on it, I do a whole class on how you can use AI to assist your writing journey. But please, 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 never use it to take the place of your writing journey.
And I totally agree with that. And also, for those who participate in our awards process for the Black Authors Matter TV Awards, we have a very good system in terms of software to submit and count the votes. But every year, and normally it's one person, thinks they can beat the system by submitting bogus votes. And we're paying attention. That doesn't benefit anyone. And you get disqualified if you do that. We don't announce that you're disqualified, but you get disqualified if you do that. So everything's going to be fair. Everything has to be fair and legitimate in this process. So Rhonda, I'm going to have you bring the guests on because my computer is not doing what it normally would do. I'm
No
stuck.
problem. Okay, so there are two people in the waiting room.
So Connie is who we need to bring on now.
Okay. All right, yeah, I'm trying to see who this other person is.
The other person is the second person.
Oh, got it.
Got it. Second guest. It's the second guest.
I'm bringing Connie in right now.
Yes. So yeah, they just signed on early. Good thing you were here, because if you see, that's why you were here. Because if that happened when I was by myself, I don't know what I would be doing. So it's just really strange. It's not holding my Zoom screen. So
I hope Connie's there. She's her camera's off and she's muted. So
yes, and I think she was trying to call.
Oh, there she is.
Okay, and I had messaged her that we were bringing her on. So Connie Briscoe is a well-known best-selling author from the early days of us being in the book business, when we first got online with our books and when we had the bookstore and all that. So she's been writing for over 20 years and being published successfully. Well, because I didn't know about that part. I didn't know about before I knew you. So
she's before your time. Okay, yeah, I get it.
But she has a new book out. It's called Chloe. It's called Chloe. It just came out recently. And we're going to have a trivia question regarding Chloe, because this book is going to be given away to a viewer. So, Connie, welcome back, because you were on with your last book. Welcome back to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Well, great to have you.
Yeah. So tell us about Chloe. And is Chloe the main character in the book? Because it seemed like it was someone else. So just tell us about Chloe, the book Chloe, and what made you come up with the concept that you did.
Well, one of my favorite books, actually I would have to say favorite films, although the film is based on a book. It's called Rebecca. And I think I read the novel Rebecca years ago, maybe in my 20s or before. It actually came out in about the 1930s. And, I read it, put it aside. It was just a good book. And years later, I think Hitchcock did a film based on the book. I saw that years later. Thought nothing of it at the time. I don't even think I was writing at that time. And then about 5 years ago, Netflix did another adaptation. There have been a number of adaptations over the years. And at that time, I was searching for my next project after You Never Know, which was my first domestic suspense. And seeing that Netflix film, Rebecca, it kind of grabbed me in a number of ways. And I began to think of it as my next project, with a lot of revisions, of course, because whereas that novel, the thing I think the thing that interested me the most, that appealed to me the most, was the fact that even though it doesn't center on this, there's a big thing about different class differences, social differences, economic differences. And I thought that would lend itself well to the Black community. Initially, I started to make it more about racial differences, but I decided not to get into that. I decided to stick to an all-Black cast and to focus among the social and economic differences within the Black community. And I think the project Rebecca kind of lended itself very well to that, because it's basically about a young woman, in the case of Chloe, the novel I wrote, a young woman who is a private chef on the island of Martha's Vineyard for a family who is sort of well off. And during that time, she has all these skirmishes with the owner of the estate that she works for, because like a lot of often happens in the community, when you have a little bit more money or better status, you think you're better than other people. And so we're playing with that dynamic in the beginning. But the main point is that she meets a billionaire on the island, and she thinks she's met her dream. I don't know if you've ever been to Martha's Vineyard, but you have all kinds of, and that was another thing that was appealing to me because it allowed me to use the island of Martha's Vineyard, which I had been visiting for a number of years. And on that island, you tend to see all the different class differences. It has a strong, vibrant Black population where you see all the different class differences. And so she meets this wealthy Black billionaire, and they have this whirlwind romance. And then he whisks her off to his private estate, Riverwild in Potomac. And although she thinks she's met, the man of her dreams, what she realizes as she goes from Martha's Vineyard to Potomac is that she's probably walked into something more like a nightmare than a dream.
Mm.
All sorts of
Okay.
issues.
All right, I'm loving this already.
Yeah, I'm it's intriguing to me that books are now based on Black billionaires as a central character. Yeah, I just finished reading another book that had a Black billionaire as a major character.
We finally got a few. We didn't have any for the longest time.
Right, right. But now,
And I love the fact that we're changing the conversation, that we can talk about Black billionaires and it can be a realistic story.
Yeah,
because
that's
we have
what
a lot
I'm
of them
saying.
now.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not a lot.
Well, there's
I'll
enough.
say we have a lot compared to what we used to have.
Right, and some that are not actually there, but close to being there.
Right.
We're right on the edge. So that's interesting.
Which I think is really ridiculous. Why should there be any billionaires in the world, Black or white? But if there are going to be some, at least we do finally have a few Black ones.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with technology and being on the ground floor of something when it takes off and you having some, equity and it goes public. That's really, that's a lot of people.
For Black billionaires too, they're generally in the technology or the financial sector rather than sports or entertainment.
Yeah, not manufacturing. It's more like communications or, like with Oprah, she's, it's technology really has allowed the wealth to explode.
I don't think I thought I heard you say, Connie, that you don't feel did you say there shouldn't be any billionaires?
Why? I mean, why do you need that much money? You can't spend that much money. Fortunately, there are a few of them, like I can't think of her name, Bill Gates' wife, who are giving away a large part of these huge fortunes. But other than that, what do you do with $1 billion? And most billionaires don't have $1 billion. They have multiple $1 billion, sometimes in the 500s of billions of dollars. No, and then when there's so much poverty in the world and so many people who don't have anything, there's so much starvation, and yet you have these concentrated wealth among a few billionaires. It seems kind of ridiculous.
Well, I hear what you're saying. I think that when a person's making money, and I'm not going to tell them what to do with their money, but I do agree that when people do have that much money, I like to see them do things for the community. Whether that's building schools, building communities. Social Book Club just mentioned homeless people. There are people who are finding ways to help people that way. But then there are other people who have billions and they don't know what to do with their money. And I'm not going to say any names, but there are people who are just doing crazy things with their money. But it's their money. I don't begrudge anybody for making money. I just hope that they're using it for a good purpose. I'll just say it that way. And then they're also setting up their kids and their children's kids.
A bit, but
yeah.
They earned it. They have the right. I'm not going to take that away from them. They have the right to do what they want with it. It's just nice to see them use it for purposes to give back to the community.
Yeah, like Rhonda said, it's kind of like a slippery slope. You can't stop people from making money. And
No,
once they make it, they get to decide what they're going to do with it.
no,
But you,
Right.
it is nice to see people doing something altruistic with it, truly altruistic, with their money. But it's their money, and they've been, you
that's
really can't make
that's a
them
whole
do.
other topic
Can't
because
make,
I've
yeah,
heard
now
in the
that's a
book
whole
that
other topic. You can't make them
Yeah.
do anything.
no,
You can't make.
that may be something that may be a book we may be talking
It
about
could be.
a
Yeah.
nonfiction book.
It could
But
be.
like I said, I do like the fact that you featured a Black billionaire in your
Hmm.
book because it changes the conversation. I think that we, as a whole, need to see ourselves as successful.
It's
We need to stop making the jokes and stop glamorizing being being poor. I mean, there are poor people in the world, and nothing wrong with that. But I think sometimes we glamorize the struggle, and we think that that's synonymous with being Black. And I think we need to change that conversation. So I do like the fact that you chose to highlight a Black billionaire in your book. And then Martha's Vineyard is one of my dream places to visit. I'm going to get there in the next year or so. I'm going to get there.
have you been
But
there at all?
I'm
Have you
sorry.
have you been there at all?
I've never been there. I
Oh,
really, really,
no,
really want to go. And I
you can
know
see a
it's a
little of
symbol of
everything on the
black
island. Yeah.
excellence.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to go. But yeah, we finally have all economic classes represented
Yes.
among our
Hmm.
population, and that is kind of what I was trying to show in Chloe.
Hmm.
A lot of times, what happens is your socioeconomic class or the amount of money you have doesn't necessarily depict how you interact with people. For example, in Chloe, you have, especially in the house once you reach Riverwald, you have Ida who actually works for Chloe, but because she's been the brother of Everett, the billionaire, the sister of Everett, for years, she seems to think that she's superior to Angel, and so she sort of acts outside of her socioeconomic status. And that is one of the things I was trying to show how if you're connected to wealth, if you somehow are close to wealth, you tend to think that it gives you the right to act a certain way or to load it over um, other people. Fortunately, Angel finally finds her voice. But yeah, that was the reason why Rebecca appealed to me. It deals with so many of these class and socioeconomic issues, and I wanted to depict them in the Black community because there certainly are issues within our community.
Now you said Hitchcock did an adaptation of it. Was it called Rebecca? Was the name of
The
the film the Hitchcock film?
Yes,
Was it called? It was called
Hitchcock
Rebecca.
film was Rebecca. The book by Daphne du Maurier was Rebecca, and then
Okay,
a more modern adaptation in the last 5 years was also called Rebecca. They were all called
Okay.
Rebecca.
I hadn't heard about that Hitchcock one. I thought I had heard of all the major Hitchcock films, so I missed that one.
Yeah, well, this one was on Netflix for a while. I'm not sure it's still on Netflix. It was on there until a couple of years ago, at least. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out because I'm on different streamings, and then sometimes once you start binging something,
Right.
you're on that one until you finish. And I've been on Hulu for the last couple months, binging ER, which has 15 seasons, and so that's taking me a while. I'm almost done though.
Oh,
But
okay. Well,
Mama
wow.
Tony said, with Tony Bonita, I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's a well-known book enthusiast, and she has a book club in Florida, and she goes to a lot of book events, and she has her own uh it's her own Zoom where she talks about books. But she said that her favorite book of yours is PG County.
Is which one? PG County.
PG County.
That's
And
my
that,
favorite of a lot of
a lot
people.
of people. Uh-huh.
And you may be hearing more about that book in the future.
Really?
I'm hopeful.
Okay.
There's
Do
a lot
tell.
going on with that book
Okay.
behind the scenes over the past couple of years. So yeah, PG County is popular among a lot of people. We'll see. I may have more news, more good news about that book in the near future. I have a blog on Substack called Behind the Chapters, and I write a little bit about what is happening with PG County. It has been optioned by major studio, and it has the
Okay.
backing of a major um, entertainer, entertainment
Wonderful.
star, I guess you
Okay.
could call it. And
That's
she wants to
wonderful.
make it into a film. I'm not ready to divulge who it is yet, but it is for PG County A&E Networks on well, we're not sure where it will air yet. It's been bouncing around the different venues, but yes, they want to make it, I think, it into a multiple episode television series.
Okay.
We'll
Well,
see.
that's a great title that
What does
really
that?
would
Well,
translate
I have no control of that. I hope PG
Well,
County, I mean, it has a built-in audience.
well. Yeah, right. Right. That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't know what they'll end
It's
up with.
it's catchy. It's like Dallas or
Yeah,
it's a show where you immediately can tap into what it means. It says something, it has a connotation that people are familiar with.
right.
Uh,
And that's what I was going to say. Prince George's County, that's the county I live in as well. And it's the county, it's known around the country as the place where Black excellence is,
Black Mecca.
where your well-to-do Black people are. So many people want to live
Mm.
in PG County.
I lived there for a while, for a number of years. We eventually moved back out to Columbia, Maryland. But yes, Prince George's County is where you go when you, as a Black person, when you've arrived. PG County, yes. And we
It's
have
true.
PG County. I mean, you have inside the Beltway is a whole different world from further and further out the Beltway. We have all different people represented in PG County, which I tried to show in the book too. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Well,
yeah,
I hope it happens. I think that it's exciting, and just the fact that a major person in the industry is even looking at it
Yeah, it'll help
is
a
grounds for
lot.
congratulations anyway.
Yeah, I've done this a couple of times before with other books, and that one that was very promising, and it just didn't happen. For everyone that makes it to the screen, you've got dozens that don't. But
right.
this
Even
one,
if they're
like you
options.
said, being represented by major talent is a huge help.
Yeah. I wonder um what the catalyst is for pulling the trigger on some of the option projects. Like what makes the people behind it say, okay, now's the time. I'm just musing right
It's
now.
complicated from, yeah, I don't know much, but what I do know is that a lot of strings are being pulled, and you got to, it used to be called the green light. You had to get the green
Yeah.
light. I don't know if you call it that anymore,
Right.
uh, but I don't know. I've never gotten the green light.
Well,
I'm
you're
good.
not alone in terms of
No.
having a novel optioned and not getting the green light. I know a lot of authors that's happened for, but it's an honor to get the option because they do, you know, they do.
But
The
the
option does
option,
come with financing, so that's a good thing.
yeah. Yeah. Keep your fingers crossed for me. Let's see.
So, Chloe, is your which book is this number book?
Oh, this I think is the 12th book. It's the ninth novel, and it's the second domestic suspense novel. Um, I wrote two nonfiction and one novella, and then the 9 novels. And this may be the last one too. I'm not going to say 100%. I said it before.
Wait, last
Back
one as
to
in
it.
forever?
Mhm. And
Last one as in forever, or last one with this series, with
it
this type of book?
We'll see. We'll see. I have no plans for a next one right now. That could change.
Okay,
All right, ma'am. You know, a world without a Connie Briscoe book, I just don't want to know it.
that's a
You
good
know, it
way
has
to
to
put
be over at some point.
it.
Plenty for you to go back and read.
This
Well,
is true. This is true. I understand. But you know, sometimes, yeah, you have to know when to just hang up your pen and just enjoy reading somebody else's book.
exactly. That's what I wanted to do. I want to have time to sit down and read all these other wonderful books coming out. You have someone coming on who is into scuba diving and did something for National Geographic related to
Mhm.
scuba diving. I want to take the time to be able to read those books by others. And also, I am working, as I said, I have a blog on Substack, and that takes a lot of time too. And I'm enjoying it because I can write about what I want to write about. One week I can write about one thing, the next week I can write about something else. The focus is on helping others become authors, mainly novelists, but others who want to become writers. And so I'm enjoying that. We'll see how that goes.
Okay. Well, in our closing couple of minutes, if you wanted to give some advice to not only aspiring authors, but those authors who've been writing for a while and they may be reaching stumbling blocks or you're not sure how to move forward, how to continue. What's some advice you would give them as a very established? Because I don't know, are all of your books through major publishers?
Yes, what they call the Big Five.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I thought.
Yes.
That's what I thought. And so you were able to maintain a career for 20 plus
I
years.
was very fortunate. You know, I came in during the I would call the Terry McMillan era, where, she had such huge success and all the publishers were looking for the next Terry McMillan. So books were being published right and left. You would go to book signings, and sometimes I toured for months at a time. You would go to book signings, and 200 people were waiting for you. This was another Black literary renaissance, I guess you could
I
call it.
remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so I was a part of that. I was very fortunate to be a part of that. It's still fairly good for Black authors. It's not what it was back then. I was fortunate to be in on that. And after a while, some personal things happened. I got a little bit of burnout and I left the publishing scene for a number of years and then came back just before COVID. COVID set me back there. But yeah, I've been fortunate. I think I've had my run. Pretty
Well, I'll tell you, you had a great run. I remember years ago having you sign a book at I believe it was at the Essence Book Festival.
much.
Excuse me, Essence Music Festival.
I've been,
I
yeah. It's
Yeah,
like,
I remember standing in line and having you sign my book there, and to now be able to interview you on this show is an honor for me. So you're one of the inspirations of this industry.
Yeah.
So even if you never write again, you've made an amazing impact on the industry. And so I want to publicly thank you for all you've done.
thank
And if
you.
you decide that you want to hang up your pen, I totally understand. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I love your
I'm
books,
flattered.
but I definitely understand.
I'm flattered. Thank you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be writing my little blog. But yeah, as far as fiction, I
Okay.
have to write. There will always be something that I'm writing, but just not. Maybe novels are a huge undertaking. You're
Hmm.
talking months, if not
This
years,
is true.
of your life. And you don't know how the public is going to take to it. You don't know if they're going to love it, if they're going to hate it, if they're going to be neutral toward it. You do it because you love to write. You have a message or something you want to say, but it has its ups and downs, and it can be painstaking. It can be rewarding. I'm getting on in years. I don't, I don't want to, that's not the kind of life I want right now. So yeah, I probably will be stepping back after
Understood.
this one, yeah. Trying some other
Understood.
things, doing some more traveling, enjoying reading, enjoying my friends, yeah. Yeah. When you write, and that's the thing about writing, when you write, that has to take up a huge part of your focus because the publishers, if you're with one of the big five and they believe in your work, and I'm fortunate that I've been in this position, they want it yesterday. So, you've always got, you think you write because you don't want to have someone breathing down your neck, a boss breathing down your neck, saying you got to get this done by this date. Well, you do. You have the publishers, they want you to get things done within a certain amount of time. I mean, I understand it. It's a business, but never forget it's a business. So,
Okay, well, that's some sage advice for all the aspiring authors, established
Yeah.
authors, future authors, um, from the great Connie Briscoe. So thank you so much, Connie, for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV.
thank you. Thank you for having me once again. And hopefully I'll see you again for something in the future. I want to come back to a couple of authors you're having that I want to come back and visit with.
Oh, well,
Sign out and then come back to the Facebook page.
yes, you sign
Yes.
out from Zoom and just watch it on Facebook. It's live on Facebook.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Thanks for having me.
you're welcome.
Thank you. You have a great night.
You too. Have a good night.
Okay, so our next guest is Patricia Limbrick, and I am going to give away this copy of Chloe by Connie Briscoe, but I'm going to wait till the next. After
You're gonna
the
wait
next.
till after the, okay, I'll go
Yeah.
ahead and let the next guest in
Yeah.
then.
So, Patricia, this is an intriguing situation. She's president of what's called the Bennett-Brooks Book Club Literary Society, and it's based here in Houston. But the thing about it is, it was established in 1967. And I thought that was amazing. They actually had me come and speak to their group
Nice.
last month. But before that, they had me speak 12 years previous to that for their, they have like a Black History Authors luncheon that raises money for the Texas Southern University Debate Club or debate team. But what I really found intriguing was it was established in 1967. The original founders have all passed on, but the club still continues. And that's uncommon. It's just being established in 1967 and you're still here as a book club. That's just actually truly amazing. So, Patricia, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
And so just tell our audience a little bit about one before you talk about like the history of the book club.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to move more forward and talk about how do you keep something going that long with new people?
Well, I guess I'm kind of the common link between the original founders and the members that we have now. One of my aunts, along with 5 other people, founded the original club. One of them passed away in 2008. So my other aunt, who was a founder, wanted to continue it. And so she and I were the ones that were helping to get the club and the breakfast event going. And she and I did that from, say, 2009 up until 2013. My aunt got sick. So from 2013 to 2016, she was not able to participate, and it kind of suspended at that point. She passed away in 2016. But I remembered that they told me that, I needed to keep this going, after they passed away. So that was on my mind, although I didn't immediately, reestablish it. But in 2020, I asked some of my friends that I knew were avid readers if they would like to, join this book club. And I need to back up. Before that, I was a member of a book club for about 5 years prior to that. But then I wanted to reestablish the Bennett-Brooks book club. So I resigned from that book club and, asked my friends to join this one. Fortunately, I was able to find 11 other people that were interested. So at that point in time, we began our reorganization of the club, with it not becoming officially active until January of 2021. And we've just progressed from there. So those were the origins.
Well,
Okay.
that's a beautiful thing that you basically kept the tradition going and kept the club going, from all those years. And I think it's amazing. How have you seen the club evolve?
I think that we have a more diverse population of books that we read. The original club, to my knowledge, only focused on Black authors. We read primarily Black authors, but we include everybody in, the population of books that we read. We do books, biographies, short stories, magazines. We'll talk on topical issues. And I think that we're much more flexible than maybe the original club was. But,
Okay.
just going back to the legacy, I grew up in a household where focusing on Black history, education, literacy, all of that was very, very strong in my household. And, my aunts were always instilling these things in me. So it was just in my head forever that I needed to try to carry this on when they were no longer able to do that. So.
Now, yeah, I hadn't even heard about book clubs until, and I've been an avid reader my whole life, but it wasn't something that really became mainstream, seems like, until maybe the 90s. I'm trying to remember when I started really hearing about them.
I'm not sure
I know
when
people were
both
doing
started.
them, but they weren't like mainstream where, where there were tons and tons of them that you heard about.
Right.
But yeah, Oprah did hers, but hers is more celebrity driven. I was referring more to like just community based ones.
When my aunt started the club, they were holding the meetings in the homes of the members. And I can remember, my aunt making some tuna salad and having cookies and punch, in our house. And, the members would come over and, talk about the book, eat a little lunch, and then they would dismiss and go home. So I don't think it was prevalent, like you're alluding to back during those days, but it was just very local, contained, and, they were probably one of the very few at that point in time. So.
So that would have taken place in like your traditional Black Houston areas, like third or fifth ward or what. I'm not from Houston, but when you move here, you hear about fifth ward and third ward, and I still don't know which one where each one is exactly, but I know those are like the traditional areas. Like major cities have certain areas where the Black people lived. Like my hometown, Newport News, they lived on the east side of town. So, I'm assuming that this was taking place in the traditional areas of Houston. In
Yes.
1967, I'm thinking that would have been the
Yeah,
case.
we grew up in an area called Trinity Gardens, which is a hop, skip, and a jump away from Fifth Ward. So,
Okay.
but not all of the members lived in that area. I think some of them lived in the Third Ward area, but I would venture to say that all of them were from a Black community. So, mhm.
Okay. Now back then, or I know you weren't necessarily in the club back then, but did they keep a roster of the books that they read? Because it would be interesting to know what they were reading in the late 60s, early in the 70s. What
I
books
could
were they
assemble that
reading?
from the breakfast, because the breakfast started maybe I know I have records back to like 2000 of them doing the breakfast. So, on the flyers and promotional materials for the breakfast, the names of the authors and the books they were reading were on there. So from that point in time forward, and I don't know if I have every one because I was accumulating this information from my aunt's, possessions after she passed away. But, I could go back and kind of chronicle some of the books that they were reading, back in the day. But, I know it was a lot of, black authors. The name of the club, Bennett-Brooks, is taken from Lerone Bennett, who was a journalist, author,
Wasn't it with
editor of
Ebony?
Ebony, yes, for over
That's
50
why that name
years.
sounds familiar.
And Gwendolyn Brooks, the poet who was Pulitzer Prize winning poet. So I'm sure that, those were the types of books that they were talking about. Plus my aunt, one of them was a librarian. So there was never a time that we gathered as a family for holidays or whatever that she didn't bring a book home that we had to read or talk about as a group. And even my children, they experienced that as well. So, she was an avid reader and traveled all over the country to like librarian events and book events. So, I could probably find a list, but I can't name all the authors off the top of my head right now. So,
Yeah, I just was curious about, what they were reading at that time because there weren't a huge amount of Black authors
mm-hmm.
then. Well, to my knowledge, let me say that. Like there is now. Because now the floodgates have opened in terms of just opportunities to self-publish
Mm-hmm.
and not having to wait until you're validated by one of the big publishers. Or, they did have the boutique type publishing houses at that time. My dad had a couple of books that he wrote. He was a pastor, and he had a couple of books that he published where he would get like 1,000 copies, and then he would go around speaking and then sell the books there. But there weren't a huge amount of Black books released. There was lots of Black music released.
Mm-hmm. Always.
A whole lot, but not books as much. That's why I was just wondering. I was just curious about what they were reading.
Well, I know that she did they tried to focus on local authors as well, because
okay.
I believe her name was Joy Carter. She was I guess you'd call her the director or president of the Harris County Hospital System. She wrote a book, and
I think I remember
she was
that.
one of the authors that
Mhm.
was a guest at the breakfast that they had. And let's see if I can think of another. Let's see. I know Kirby John Caldwell. He used to be the pastor of Windsor Village. He had a book. Reverend Lawson, was a guest at the breakfast. So they would focus on local authors and have the members select books that they wanted to read as well. So.
Okay. And that's what you all are still doing, because the event that I went to, where you all had me there as a speaker, you also had another author that she used to live in Houston, but now she lives, I think in Memphis, I think she said,
Memphis.
Phyllis Dixon. So you're still focusing on local authors too. And, it's much appreciated to be able to go to an event that's book related and just talk about the books that you've written.
Well, I was fortunate. I worked with Phyllis actually for a number of years, probably over 20 years. And I knew about her passion for books, the fact that she had opened up her own bookstore and then started writing. And she was writing during the time that she was still working with me at the Treasury Department. So she was one of the first people that I could tap to come and be a guest speaker at our event. And we had interacted with you, I think actually when we were in the other book club I was in, and I knew about you from that, and also from attending the Black Book Festival. So yeah, that is a focus for us as well. Yes.
Okay. And it was just interesting that Phyllis had her bookstore in Houston during some of the same years that we had ours. But I didn't know her until she became
I was about to say you two had never met or run in the same circle.
No. Because her bookstore was downtown, 30 miles from where we were.
I think people forget how big Houston is. Houston is huge.
Yeah. I tell people that I'm 30 miles from downtown, but I'm still in Houston.
Yep.
So, and then there's 30 miles further south. I'm on the northwest part of Houston. So it's 30 miles to downtown. Then once you get downtown, there's another 30 miles south. And I think you're still really in Houston, or you're still in Houston Metro. So it's big, and the traffic is bad. But anyway, and we've had a lot of newcomers that have moved here in the last, especially 10 years. Or the last 5 has been even greater, just, from everywhere, from all over. Now you all help the Texas Southern debate team with the proceeds from your breakfast. And Texas Southern is an HBCU, the one here in Houston.
That's amazing.
So they do that. So tell us how you all ended up connecting with the debate team.
Well, once again, it goes back to the ties to the original book club members. I wanted to pattern our club as much as possible in the way that they did things when they were active as a book club. So, matter of fact, that's almost my entire blueprint is doing what they did. And, I was fortunate, even though I wasn't a member at that time of their club, I was going to all the breakfasts and seeing what my aunts were doing and the other members. So they started this tradition of donating proceeds to the TSU debate team. The coach of that team is also a social worker, Gloria Batiste Roberts, and she and my aunt were very close friends, and they were a member of another organization called Association of Black Social Workers. So when my aunt, I guess, knew about Gloria's efforts to help Dr. Thomas Freeman with the debate team, she decided that was the organization that she wanted to help. So we're just continuing that tradition, basically. So,
and they recently won a competition.
They did.
Tell us about which one that was.
Well, it was in Korea. I don't know the exact name of it. I'd have to read it, but they perform multiple places and have been award-winning for a number of years. Originally under Dr. Freeman. I don't know if he started the debate team, but he was with it for a number of years. And Gloria was a student of his and worked with him closely in the organization. And, after his passing, she accelerated to be the debate team coach. So.
Oh, okay. Now some people are commenting about books back in the day. I didn't know we were going to get these many comments, but she said that growing up, the social book club they watched. She said they would meet at the library, and then they would read the book and discuss it in class. And then she also said, remember the mail order books, because I used to get, as a teenager, I used to order books through the mail. Uh, I read Donald Goins's books, and I was 15 or 14, and my parents didn't know about it. Of course, they encouraged my reading. I was an avid reader, but they didn't know about these books. And because of the titles, if I had let them see the books, they probably would have said, "What in the world are you reading?" Because he had Whoreson and something like a pimp, something with pimp in the title. And I was fascinated by those books because I thought it was true fiction. I didn't realize that
Yeah,
those kinds of things were
I
happening.
read Horse Son. That was interesting. His name was actually Horse Son
Yes.
because his mom said he's a horse son, so his name's gonna be Horse Son.
Yeah, so they used to come in the brown paper wrappers, and when you would order them in the mail back then. But um and Tony Benita said you can drive 24 hours and still be in the state of Texas. Not quite 24,
But 12.
but 18 from east to west is 18
Hmm.
hours because I
Hmm.
drove that. And actually from north to south, it might be 24 hours because the top of the tip of Texas,
Hmm.
South Padre, that's probably 24 hours.
Well, I know El Paso is like halfway to California, and I know
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's
18
12,
hours.
but
You have to stop.
No, when we drove across Texas, we got excited when we got to El Paso because it meant we were finally leaving
You
Texas.
were finally out of Texas, but you can drive and drive and drive.
yes,
And
you
the
can.
thing about driving in Texas like that, like on the highway from east to west, there's nothing. There's like you go through a major city, and
Hmm.
then for miles and miles, there's just ranches, cows. There's nothing big.
Just a lot of
We,
land.
it's a
That's
lot of land. And we mapped out our trip because we drove to California on a road trip, and we mapped out where we were going to stop. And the only, how on a map, if you look at like the Rand McNally, the atlas that you for driving,
hmm.
and the cities are based on the font size tells you how big the city is. And
Yeah.
the only city that had any kind of a size of a font, it was Fort Stockton. And that's like halfway. That's like a halfway point. But it's
Hmm.
very little there. I mean, but they actually did have a Marriott hotel, and that was where we used my Marriott points. That was so um with the debate team, I did want to ask about your your book club's involvement with the debate team. Do you all just basically support them financially, or do you get involved with um, going to see them perform, or what's
No,
your?
I would actually like to go and see them perform, but right now we're just involved with them financially. I mean, I know Gloria really, really well because like I said, she was a good friend of my aunt's, and I see her at other events, but I have not been to a performance. So I was thrilled when she told us that we could have some of her, team members to perform at the event, and I think everybody thoroughly enjoyed that. So,
Yes, they performed at the event where I spoke, and you could hear a pin drop.
hmm.
People were very, very focused on their performances. Very, I mean, exceptional. It was really acting as much as it was more acting than debating because they actually did like a monologue. There was one gentleman that did a monologue, and then there were two young ladies that acted out. Like it was almost like a one act play in a way.
Hmm.
Um, they were very, very good, and
And
amazed that they could memorize all the lines they had.
Well, the amazing thing was they had just flown in from, like I said, I think it was Korea that Friday, and our event was that Saturday. And you know how when you're traveling from overseas, how long the flights are and the jet lag and all of that, but you couldn't tell it from the way they got up and performed at that breakfast. So that was pretty
nice.
amazing too. Yeah.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
So now, what books are you all reading now? Do you all read a book a month or every other month? How are you all managing your book reading
We
now?
meet
Your book select?
bi-monthly. You know, other book clubs we met every month, but I thought when we formed this one that maybe we needed a little time because people are doing other things in their lives, and it gives them time to, read the book. But each member, we put a schedule together of when each member will be presenting the book that they select. And, at that particular meeting, they choose a book, choose the location where we're going to meet. And typically we will meet either by Zoom, we'll go out to a restaurant, or we'll meet at a member's home. But I actually, in preparation for this, I do have some of the books that we've been reading. The Bluest Eye, Toni Morrison.
Okay.
The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. The Guardian by John Grisham. Becoming by Michelle Obama. The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. We've read the Cicely Tyson biography, the Aretha Franklin biography, American Dirt, which is by an author named Janine Cummings. The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Delilah Harris. Harlem Shuffle by Colson Whitehead. We Are Not Like Them by Christine Pride. Feeding the Soul, that's by Tabitha Brown. Several more on here, but most recently we read The Measure of a Man by Sidney Poitier. That was the last book that we read in our April meeting. And the next book is going to be The Legs Are the Last to Go by Diane Carroll, because we thought, well, since we read about Sidney Poitier and he mentioned her, we thought it would be good to go back and read her biography and see what her memories were of her relationship with him, as well as other, momentous things that went on in her life. So,
we'd be
variety.
We'd be remiss if we didn't ask, because we have a lot of authors who watch the show. How can an author contact you, or how can an author maybe get you to consider their books?
They can just contact me by email. And that's the easiest way. Do you want me to give out my email address now, or
if you want to?
I'm fine with that. It's PK, P as in Patricia, K as in Kite. My last name Limbrick, Limbrick @yahoo.com.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I put it in the chat.
Thank you.
And that was a question I was going to ask too, about, authors want to know how do they get their book on your radar, so to speak. So, or the book club. Now, how do you all select your books? Do you all do it like at the beginning of the year and have a list? Like some clubs do it like that.
No, we just tell the member what month they will be presenting. And then at the meeting before each author's month, we'll tell them to provide us with the name of the book they would like us to read. So, they have time to think about it. And, we just rely on them to provide us with the author and the book name, and go from there. Our only criteria around that is that we just defined in our bylaws what types of books we wanted to read, and kept it very broad: fiction and nonfiction, like I said, biographies. We did not specifically say Black authors, even though, that is our focus, but not all of our members are African American. So, we've a couple of the books that I read off, those were written by Hispanic authors. So we want it to be very diverse in our selection of books. So,
It
the
sounds
thought
like you all
being you
do
can
a
learn
lot
from all cultures. So,
yes, it sounds like you all do a lot of biographies. Some
it's
clubs,
happened that
That's what I
way.
heard too.
Because a lot of our members like biographies, and there's so many interesting ones that you can read out there. Cicely Tyson, a person that lived for 96 years, reading a book about her life, you feel like you're going to gain a lot of insight because that's
Yes.
a long life, and she spanned so many generations. So, yeah, we do read a lot of biographies, but in addition to that, I'm a lover of John Grisham. So I love reading his books. I love reading James Patterson.
Yes. Yes.
So it's just up to the person what they want to read, and we just support, whatever book they select. So that's the way we manage it. So
yeah, I like John Grisham too. I really haven't gotten into James Patterson, but I'm trying to remember the last John Grisham book I read, and I bought one, his last one before, next to the last one, but I didn't get to read it yet. I just have it. But
I think The Exchange was may have been
okay. That's the book
last one
that I have.
read, but there may be another one after that. I'm not sure. So
okay, I have that book, but I haven't read it yet. So, what did you think of that book? Because I read. I think what stopped me, and this may or may not be good to do, but I went online and read some of the reviews, and so they were mixed. And so I said, well, I'll just put it to the side for now and get to it later. So what did you think of it?
I enjoyed it. I mean, when you read John Grisham that there's a formula to it. There's going to be a lawyer in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
More than likely, there's going to be an action plot with some type of, adversary foil that, this lawyer is going to brilliantly figure out how he can, combat whatever forces are going on with the person that's trying to kill him or whatever. And this book, The Exchange, was not as to me rich in action as some of the other books. His earlier works, like A Time to Kill, the Pelican Brief, The Firm. I mean, I loved those novels. I couldn't put them down. So in my case, I'm always comparing, all
yes
books.
And that's
So that's going to bring you about a little bit of disappointment because everything can't be on the same level of intensity. But I enjoy reading it. So
yeah, that's kind of what the reviews were saying. They read everything by him, and this one wasn't as good as some of the other ones. So, I probably will get to it at some point. I just haven't yet. So anyway, Patricia, thank you so much for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV and sharing the history, and just congratulations on keeping the memory of your aunt and her friends, well, two aunts, I think you said, and their love for books, keeping it alive, and the mission to support the TSU debate team for all these years. That's amazing.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great one.
Good night.
You too. Good night.
Okay. Somebody mentioned that one of our guests was talking about scuba diving. So that's this guest that we're bringing on now, who has a book.
Do we want to do the
book? You want to do the
first?
book? Okay. Now the answer has already been given, but some people might have missed it. So the question about this book is Angel, who's the character in the book. She's a chef for a Black family. And the setting for the book is in what resort enclave. What's the name of the resort enclave where the setting for Chloe is? And this is a book, not an arc. So it's a hardcover. And so if you get the answer, the first one to answer wins the book, and it will be mailed to you this week. So we're going to be bringing on our next guest. Her name is Tara Roberts. And Rhonda, if you can bring her on, because you know
Yeah, I'm about to now. I was just having a little issue. I was trying to
my,
fix.
my Zoom's not working for me. Like I can see everything, but I can't get to it. I can't operate the buttons. Once I went live, that's when it messed up on me. Anyway, but that's the benefit of having a co-host to help. So, Tara, you have an amazing book called, now do you pronounce your name Tara or Tara? I want to pronounce it right.
Oh, thank you for asking. It's Tara.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Tara.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a memoir called Written in the Waters, and the synopsis was just so amazing. And I said we have to get her on the show to talk about her journey with writing this book and scuba diving and all of that. And it's not a book about scuba diving per se. That's part of what took place to get the information and all the history that she got. So welcome to the show. And do you have a copy of your book handy?
You know what? I do.
Okay. All right. We want to look at the we want to look at so people can see the cover. And it's called Written in the Waters, a memoir of history, home, and belonging.
And this is my slightly beat up cover.
But no, it looks beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
I
got
love the
water
depictions
stains
of
on
people
it.
swimming in the water.
Yeah.
Is that what I see? People swimming?
It's one person, and I think it's supposed to be me. When I gave the artist a little bit of feedback, and I was like, I think I need a little more curve. So that's I gotta give it a little booty. So she's got a little curves there.
You know what? If you don't ask, they won't give, so it's fine.
Yeah, so this book started, it seems like, with you learning some information, and then you end up traveling to so many places far flung around the globe. So tell us about your journey with the information about the background of this story and how it came about, and then how you ended up going to all these different places and with diving with people. And well, I'm gonna ask you one question before you do that. Were you diving before you started this journey?
No,
Okay, so
not a
you
scuba diver
picked up
at
a
all.
skill at the same time.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us
That's all.
about the story and just the background for it. How did it come about? How did you get to writing the story and then releasing it to the world?
Yeah, this all started because of a visit to the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. Have you two been to that museum?
Oh, never heard of it. I'm just kidding. Yes.
I'm like,
No,
oh, we have to tell you about it. Okay.
no, I
I
live in the
always
DMV,
wanted,
so I've been there quite a few
yeah,
times.
she lives
Oh,
in the
gotcha.
DMV.
Okay.
I'm in Houston, and I had planned to go, Rhonda, when I was Rhonda is part of the Zeta, and they had their boule scheduled, their 100th year boule scheduled for 2020. And then and I was planning to go and then go to the museum while I was there. And COVID killed all the plans for that. So I haven't been yet, but I'm still on my list of things, my bucket list, so to speak.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad it's on your list.
It is.
It is an amazing museum, and it is the thing that completely changed my life. I went to this museum because somebody gave me tickets, and if you remember, it was so hard to get tickets when it was
Yes.
open. It was
So
almost
if you had tickets,
impossible.
you'd better go.
Right. Hello. I was like, yes, we will be going because I tried to get tickets and couldn't get them. They had a lottery system. So you would have
Yes.
to log on every day and the luck of the draw.
Oh,
Like maybe you would get tickets that day, maybe you wouldn't. I never got tickets. I tried for months and never got tickets. And then one day when things began to calm down, somebody gave me tickets and I went. And I ended up on the second floor, which is this tiny floor that most people skip because it's like a little archival floor. So it's only got a couple of exhibits on it, and then it's got the archival section where you can go and do research. So I end up on this floor and I see this picture. It was a picture of a group of primarily Black women in wetsuits on a boat. That's all the picture was. It's even I've seen the picture since then and I've looked at it and I'm like, this wasn't like it's not like it's a portrait. It's not like people are superposed and I mean they look amazing to me, but it's an ordinary photograph. But for whatever reasons, it just stopped me because I'd never seen a picture of Black women in wetsuits on a boat before. And they just look so beautiful to me. Like afros, braids, like I really thought that they looked like superheroes. When I imagined the picture in my mind, it literally was like they had on capes, but they didn't. But that's how it
Mm.
was in my mind. So then I read to find out, well, who are they? What are they doing? And I found out that they're part of this group called Diving with a Purpose, and that part of their mission was to help search for and document slave shipwrecks around the world. And I was
Wow,
like,
that's amazing.
yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, what? They do what? People who look like me are doing what in the water and in the world? So it touched me and I stayed on the second floor for like an hour just Googling them, trying to find out more information about them. And then I called them up and the founder is this gentleman named Ken Stewart, who's great. We've become really good friends since then. But back then, this was in 2016, 2017. Um, he and I started up a conversation. It took a couple of phone calls, but then eventually he invited me to come dive with them. And I don't know if you knew this, but this is what he said to me. He likes to call me by my full name. So he at the time he was 72 years young and he's from New York, even though he lives in Nashville, but he's got this like New York kind of energy. He was like, Tara Roberts, do you know that you live in the epicenter of Black scuba diving? And I was like, what? I was living in DC. I was like, wait, what? And he was like, DC, man, that's what I'm talking about. That's where all the cats are. And I was like,
Oh,
are you kidding? And he was like, no, that is the place to be. And he was like, and if you want to scuba dive, I will get you in a class. We will get you trained, and then you can come out and join us. And I was like, sign me up. And that was sort of the beginning
it was an
of,
amazing experience, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the club that is based in DC is the oldest Black diving club in the United States. They were founded
Wow.
in the
wow.
50s. In the 50s, y'all, and they run deep. Like, it's I don't know, over 100 members. They travel together. They show up at resorts
That is
with their
so
equipment.
awesome.
Yeah,
I
it's
wish
Wow.
I had, if I had moved here first, I probably could have joined the scuba diving team. I went scuba diving. I was in the military and I was stationed in Egypt for a year. So when I linked up with some of my fellow soldiers who used to scuba dive all the time, and I was like, I want to go. And so they took me on a couple of intro dives, and I was like, man, this is so awesome. I should buy all of the equipment. And when I go back to the States, I'm going to scuba dive. I'm going to get my certification. And then before I bought everything, I'm like, Rhonda, where in the hell are you going scuba diving? You don't even know anybody who scuba dives. So just enjoy the experience that you had, but no need in spending all of that money because you're not going to do it. Had I moved here after Egypt, I probably could have pursued scuba diving a lot more.
Can I tell you something, Rhonda?
What's that?
You know it's not too late.
I know it's not
Club
too
is
late.
still there. And they go diving every year. And so the guy who founded the club, it's called the Underwater Adventure Seekers. The guy who founded that is a gentleman named Dr. Albert Jose Jones, who is like everybody in the Black scuba diving world considers Jacques Cousteau the Black or the white Dr. Jones, because he is
Oh,
that
wow.
Oh, wow.
amazing. He's got like, I don't know, somewhere like 10,000 dives. He's in the Scuba Diving Hall of Fame. Like he's amazing. But Doc Jones also founded the National Association of Black Scuba Divers. So it is a group of like over 3,000 divers who, again, every year they show up and they go out. So if you want to
To find
dive,
out when
it's
that's
not
happening, I just
common.
want to see them. I want to see that many Black scuba divers together. I mean, that's an unforgettable sight.
Yeah, yeah. But we got to get you out there. So you say the
Look at
word.
you. You've been scuba diving for 5 minutes
Booty.
and you're fighting
So
feet.
true. It's so true. I don't know what I'm doing compared to any of them.
Oh, that is awesome, though, that you were inspired just by seeing a photo in the African American Museum.
Yeah. And then, of course, as I started to get my certification, and the
Mm-hmm.
Underwater Adventure Seekers takes it very seriously. Like it's a 3-month long process to get certified. There are
Mm-hmm.
places where you can go and get certification in a weekend, but not with the Underwater Adventure Seekers. They take it very seriously. And it was during that time that I got to know a number of the divers who are part of that club, but who were also instructors for the group
Mm.
Diving with a Purpose. So I really got to learn more about Diving with a Purpose. I got to learn more about some of the ships that they were working on. And I was just like, it is incredible history that I did not know. Um, Not only did I not know it, but when I think about the work that these divers were doing, I'm like, most people don't think that Black people, participate in water sports.
Right, right.
So it felt like this was information that the world should know. And I'm trained as a journalist. Even though I wasn't working as a journalist, I'd taken a detour and was like, why this detour? I need to be writing. And then I was like, oh my gosh, here are these incredible human beings who are doing wonderful work. Maybe this is a story that I could help tell. So I asked them for permission to help tell their story. They said yes. And I didn't want to tell this by halves. Like I wanted to go all in. And they were doing missions all over the world. And I was like, I want to do it with them. I want to go all the way in. And so I decided to quit my job. Um,
Mm.
I didn't have
So
a
you were
plan.
really all in.
I was
Right.
like, I'm in. And I didn't have like a plan around it. I didn't have funding. Nobody gave me an assignment. Like I was just like, I'm feeling it. And I know to do it justice, I can't like do this on the weekend. Like I need to be
Right.
all in. So I was like, let's quit and let's trust in the universe to come meet me and help make this happen. So it was after I quit, and I was trying to get so to participate in Diving with a Purpose, you have to get a certain number of ocean dives in.
Mm-hmm.
There's work that you're doing underwater, and you've got to be proficient with your diving. So I had gone to Southeast Asia because a friend was getting married. I was like, okay, we're quitting the job and then we're going to use a frequent flyer ticket and go to India for your friend's wedding. And why don't you just stay in Southeast Asia and learn? And so it was while I was there that I was like, oh, I am not a trust fund baby, and I do need to find some funding to be able to cover this. So that's how I came across National Geographic giving out grants. I didn't realize that they gave grants, but again, the universe sort of meets
Mm.
you where you are, and I found out they gave out grants to do storytelling, and I was like, well, maybe they'd be interested in this. And that's sort of the rest is history. I applied and they gave me my first grant. And then since then, they've
Mm.
been giving me grants to tell bigger and bigger stories about this work. That was a lot. That was a huge mouthful.
No, but there's a whole lot more that we can learn and need to know. Like, for example, you do the scuba diving with the group too, and they investigate or they're exploring slave ships that have sunken, correct?
Yes.
And so, do they know where the slave ships are? How do they decide which ones they're going to investigate? And or have they just been doing it for a long time and still collecting information for the ones that they've found? Or both, or
Yeah, typically Diving with a Purpose, this group, it partners with other organizations to do this work. And one of the big organizations that they've partnered with is an organization called the Slave Wrecks Project, which is made up of a bunch of organizations, including Diving with a Purpose. But there are a few other museums, the National Park Service, like these other kinds of organizations are a part of it. And they all collaborate to do the work. So the work actually starts in the archives and it starts with historians. And it's historians going through the records to really figure out where a ship might be. Um, the
okay.
thing about slave shipwrecks is that they are often not intact on the ocean floors. It's not like you can just swim along and then be like, ah, there's a slave shipwreck and I'm going to go investigate it. No, it doesn't typically happen like that. Like most of the ships were made out of wood. So, and this is back in the 1600s and 1700s. So when they wreck, they splinter on the ocean floor and then eventually the ocean reclaims them.
Mm,
So to the
Mm.
naked eye, it doesn't look like pieces of a ship necessarily. It
wow.
really takes some eagle eyes. But before you get to the eagle eyes, you've got the archives that are helping you understand what happened with the wrecking event. Um, and there's some very detailed records that you can find. And then the team uses equipment to help find anomalies in the water, like things with metals. Because even though the ships were made out of wood, maybe they had nails or other sorts of things that could be picked up
Mm,
by equipment. So then the equipment begins to pick up anomalies in the area where they think it is. And then divers go in to like look and to see what those things are. And then they have to take pictures and they have to test these things to see if they are indeed what they might be. So that's when archaeologists are often involved throughout the process. But archaeologists, particularly at that stage, are the ones that are testing the materials. And then they get a hypothesis. And then the divers go back when they think it really is that site. And that's when they're down there doing uh, you know the deep looking and trying to find the wrecks.
This looks
wow.
like it sounds like painstaking work
It
that they
does sound like
give.
painstaking work. You have to
Um,
know exactly what you're looking for.
Yes.
Because I'm just picturing, um, when you said that, it's not like you're going to find these ships intact. So you have to know exactly what to look for, and you have to always be paying attention when you're doing your dive.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure does this almost seem overwhelming, but in a good way?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of exciting too.
Yeah.
um, the work that I got trained on is called underwater archaeology mapping. So even after the team locates a ship, then they've got to document that ship on the ocean floor. So there's a team of people that are down there with clipboards and measuring tapes and that are actually measuring the wrecking site. So there's a lot happening. And of course, like some divers may feel a certain way because you are dealing with actual history.
Mhm.
And it's, tragic history. And that said, I would
Yeah.
say that when I am under the water though, I don't I don't feel sad. I feel so empowered. I just feel like I am repping for the ancestors. I am like,
Mm.
I see you, I'm honoring you and I'm helping to bring your story back into memory. And that is beautiful work to me. It's not sad work for me. So,
Wow.
Yeah, it's like the work that you're doing and the other people on the team, it's really giving the souls of those people who have been lost for hundreds of years some peace and recognition,
yeah.
just because there's so many. Is there an estimate of how many slave ships sank during the Middle Passage?
Yeah, they estimate, well, so there were 12,000 ships that brought 12.5 million Africans to the Americas, and they estimate that around 1,000 ships wrecked. And to date, they have found less than 20, and then they have properly documented even fewer than that. So it's an enormous amount of history that's just missing. And this is a number that maybe you knew, maybe you didn't. I didn't know this until I started this work, but they also estimate that 1.8 million Africans died just in the crossing from
Yes.
Africa to the Americas. So
Hmm.
just in the crossing, not like once they arrived and were
Right.
enslaved. In the
Hmm.
1.8 million people. That was
Mhm.
not a number I knew growing up. Um, it just means that there's an enormous loss of life that's connected to this trade. And many of these people have never been honored, never been acknowledged, never been properly grieved. So this is an opportunity to bring their stories back into memory. And it feels so powerful to me.
That's a great segue into the question I was going to ask as we approach these last couple of minutes. Um, your work with this book has received a lot of attention. National Geographic, Good Morning America, various podcasts. Do you feel that your book has just kind of brought a new light on this work? Because this work's been going on long before you got involved, but now more people are seeing it. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think like um the divers started doing this work, the Black divers started doing this work in the early 2000s. So you're right, the work has been going on and it is powerful work. There's such a dedicated group of people who are involved in this, and they come from all walks of life, from
Mhm.
engineers to business folks to yoga teachers to students. Like it's the whole range. But what they really didn't have a lot of are storytellers. There have been
Right.
some stories that have been written about this. There are a couple of films that are out there, but I do think that there is something about the reach of National Geographic that has helped get the story out there in an even bigger way. So I feel really honored to help amplify this story. Um, and I feel thankful to National Geographic for also being willing to really put it out there. Like we went
Yeah.
from me originally, I was just writing blog entries on the Nat Geo blog. And I was like, I went back to them and I was like, one, trying to write 200-word blog entries about the transatlantic slave trade, just like that just is insane. Can't do that. Um, but I was like,
Yeah, it's too
I
big a story to
yeah,
limit it to a blog, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And not only is it like the trade itself is a big story, but then when you start telling stories about the locations that we're in that have their own relationship to the trade, their own history. I mean, we did Mozambique, South Africa, Senegal, Costa Rica, St. Croix, around the US. Each of those places has a
Yes.
story to be told, and not just
Yes.
one story,
Yes.
it's multiple stories. So it's so much storytelling that could be done. That I realized, oh, maybe this story would work really well as a podcast, because I started to hear the story as I traveled, all these different accents, all these different people understanding the history in their own way. I started to hear it. So we produced Into the Depths, which is a 6-episode narrative podcast, which
Okay.
was fantastic. I felt like, ooh, we told a lot of the story there. Then we've done 2 films, 2 documentaries. One is called Clotilda, The Return Home. It's on Hulu and Disney Plus. That felt like, ooh, we got to tell a bigger story with that. That's fantastic. That wasn't enough. Did some articles in the magazine and online. Wasn't enough. So now there's a book. And like I've had the support to be able to continue to tell the story in
Mhm.
bigger ways. So I feel just really amazed that people are hungry for the story, they're interested, and they're leaning in because you never know.
Yes.
But no, people are like, we want more of this. So it's great.
It, well, this is an amazing story. We're just at the end of our time, but sometimes people are chosen for assignments, and this
Mhm.
assignment required a journalist or someone with amazing writing skills, and then it also required someone who was willing to quit their job and throw caution to the winds, and just take wherever the winds took you. That's where you went. So, show the book cover one more time for us, for our audience, so they can know about this amazing book written in the waters. And I don't have my copy yet, but it will be in my shopping cart tonight
Yes. Same here. Same here.
from this show.
Yeah.
So,
And anybody who is going to be near Charis, is it Charis Books or Charis?
Karis Books.
Charis Books, excuse me. On April 26th, you're going to be signing your book there for Independent Bookstore Day.
I will. And I'll also be signing at the Inman Park Festival in Atlanta on earlier that day. So on the 26th for a cappella books.
You're
So
going to
that's
be a
really,
busy lady.
mhm.
yeah. And then we're headed I'll be in Napa Valley mid-May, be at Longwood Gardens in Pennsylvania right after that. Then in Boston, right? It's like if anybody wants to meet up, I love to meet people on the road.
Well, when
My
you decide to
schedule,
come back to DC, let me know.
I'll let you know. Okay. Yes, I'll definitely
Yeah,
let
and
you
if you
know.
make it to Texas, well, Houston, because
Yeah,
Texas is big,
it's
but if you
huge.
make it to Houston, let
Yeah.
me know and I'll be there. Well,
Houston's not on the list yet. DC is on the list. So I'll let you
okay,
know. And if anybody is trying to find me in the world, if they go to my Instagram page, Tara Roberts Explorer, we've got the travel, the book tour dates and
okay.
places on Instagram. So
Okay, well, congratulations on an amazing project, and thank you
thank
for
you.
being a guest on the show.
Thank you for having me. I
Well, we
appreciate it.
really enjoyed it. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
yay. Okay. Bye-bye.
All
Bye-bye.
right,
Stay in
have a
touch.
great night.
Okay.
Okay, well, we're bringing on our final guest, and Rhonda's going to bring Renee Daniel Flagler on. And I'm going to go off camera for 1 second. I think if it'll work for me, well, I don't even know if it'll work. But anyway, because it's my stuff isn't working like it's supposed to. But Renee Flagler, I've been connected with her for a long time on social media, and I don't know for sure if we've ever met, but she has a new book out, and she's going to tell us about it. So, Renee, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV. Oh, need to unmute.
Unmute.
Okay, there we
Hello,
go.
and thank you so much. And hey, Rhonda, how are
Hey,
you?
Renee, it's been a minute.
It's been a long time. It definitely has.
It is.
Yes.
I love your glasses.
Thank you. I love that's my face candy.
I'm about to say, I think you have probably a million different types of glasses, huh?
I have a lot of different colors, and yeah.
Yes. I love it.
I love
You
that.
know, I'm pretty vanilla when it comes to glasses. My glasses are always going to look somewhat like this,
Mhm.
or but they never. I'm not brave enough or creative enough, I don't think, to do the different shapes. But I love looking at them on other people. But I'll
Me
try it. I'm
too.
like, no, this doesn't look right on me.
Me too. And I feel like if I wore some big glasses, because I'm a small person, it would just like overwhelm me. Like
Take over your whole face, right?
you wouldn't be able to see anything but the glasses.
Well, Renee, you have been doing your thing. Um, you've been busy. I've been watching your growth. I mean, we were both back in the early 2000s,
Yep,
hustling these books and
that's
everything, trying to
right.
get ourselves out there. But you have gone from being an author to a coach and entrepreneur. Can you talk a bit about that journey?
Sure. Actually, it all started from being an author. So I wrote those first couple of books early 2000. And one day I was asked to go and talk to a group of students. And I was told that these students had never met an author who looked like them. So it was a location that was predominantly Black and Hispanic students. And when I went to do that event, I fell in love with like just connecting with young people. And I said, wow, this is something I think I want to do more of. So then I was asked to go and speak to a group of students. Actually, not even a group of students. I was asked to come to a place called Victory House. And it was a group home for runaway teens and pregnant teens. And I went there when I first got there. It was about maybe 6 to 8 young women living in this location. And the first day I went, they were kind of looking like, who's this chick? And so, but by the time we were done, it's like I didn't want to leave and they didn't want me to leave. So
Oh.
during that time, I spent 6 weeks with them. And each day I went back, we would explore books, we do storytelling, we would do journaling. By the time they were done, they were creating these beautiful stories about their journeys. And some of their journeys were quite traumatic. But I saw what the power of writing was doing for this group of young girls, and I felt honored that they let me in, you know what I mean? Like, because they were writing
Hmm.
about some really, really like very intimate, very personal, very tough stuff. And
Yes.
guiding them through that and just looking and seeing how writing can really just open people up and heal and uplift and move you through situations and things like that. And after that 6 weeks, we went from kind of journaling and we started to create characters together. That's when I first started to develop like writing curriculum and stuff, just because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with these girls. Um, and by the time we finished, we had a ball. There was tears, it was laughter. We created characters. We made the characters do all kinds of things. And I was like, Lord, this is what I want to do with my gift. And so that started this whole cycle of me finding a way to come out of corporate America and into a world where I can write and then I can use my writing to
Mm.
youth. And so that's kind of where we went from that point forward. And slowly but surely, I transitioned completely out of corporate America, focused on writing full time, and then ended up going into nonprofit, where now I run a nonprofit organization.
at you. That was more to your journey than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So what's the nonprofit that you started, established? What does it do? What's the name of it? What does it do?
So I actually established, so my company is called Divine Right. Divine as in divine and right, WRITE. And
Oh,
so
okay.
under Divine Right, when I do publish anything indie publishing, I produce that stuff under Divine Right, but I also do writing workshops. I'm a vendor with the New York City Department of Education. I do writing programs, writing residencies. I've done writing residencies with the different libraries, like the Langston Hughes Library. I went back and got my MFA in creative writing that opened more doors. I went through a program that taught writers how to create curriculum. And so I'm certified in creating writing curriculum. And that's actually what opened the doors for me to be doing writing residencies and stuff inside of like the public school systems, conferences. So I've literally taught writing from K through 12, all the way through, libraries, you get all
Renee,
ages.
I'm going to have to hire you as a consultant because people have been asking me to do that with a lot of the programs that I have, and I have no idea how to do it.
Girl, I'm
So,
trained. I can help you.
yeah, I'm about to say I might have to hire you, and I'm saying it publicly because that's the way you make things happen. Because if I just kept it in my mind, I'm gonna forget to write you and tell you that I need your help.
Let's talk.
But if
Right.
I say it
Absolutely.
publicly,
Yeah, it's like writing put me on this path. So now I live what I call my dream journey. I get up and
I
do what
love
I
it.
love. I write and I serve youth, and writing brought me to that place.
I love that. And you still have your own books.
Yep, absolutely. Hmm.
So you have a brand new book.
I
That's the
do.
segue to that. That
Yes.
just came out earlier this month
Yeah.
called
Mhm.
Unlikely Neighbors. Now, are you in like the women's fiction, romantic, suspense, or romance genres? Are you, or is this the first time you're writing in that genre?
So I've been in romance, like women's fiction. I've always been in women's fiction, but I've entered into the romance marketplace in 2015 with my first deal with Harlequin under the pen name Nikki Knight. And so I've written about 11 books under Nikki Knight. And then
Oh,
this
okay.
book, um, they made some changes to the imprint and they were going for something new. So this book is published under Afterglow, which is their newest imprint. And with the writing formats, it changed from the traditional romance writing that we were doing, and they wanted something more like emotional conflict, more drama, more of this and more of that. And I was like, well, that's what Renee Daniel Flagler writes.
Mm.
So I retired the Nikki Knight, brand, and just moving forward as Renee Daniel Flagler, because this book is not necessarily just traditional romance. It's more of the emotional conflict. They're both going through, a series of things. And
Right.
of course, there's the love story.
Mhm. Yeah. So
I-
now the Unlikely Neighbors, what does he do and what does she do?
right.
So she is a social worker. And
Okay.
you'll find a lot of that type of stuff in the book. But she's a social worker. She had a cancer scare. And when she discovered that she was clear and free of cancer, she decided, all right, I've been living way too safely for way too long, haven't done all the things that I wanted to do in life. So it's time to live. So she decides that she's gonna get out, live her life to the fullest, and discover who she is, because she's also adopted. So she starts on this journey of self-discovery. And she plans to move from her little small town in South Carolina, it's where my family originates from, to another, a larger town. So she's thinking she's going to Charleston. Well, what interrupts that whole plan is that she gets a letter from lawyers in New York saying that she's inherited a brownstone in Brooklyn because she was the next of kin for a great aunt. And so she gets to New York, and that whole journey of discovery gets blown all the way up because she discovers way more than she ever anticipated she would discover. And on her journey of discovery, she meets the next door neighbor, which is Noble. And he's a gentleman who started a beverage company in his college days and got investors, and it kind of blew up. And so he's has this big world renowned beverage company. But like they do a lot of times in corporate environment, they decide at the 10-year anniversary that it's time for a new CEO so they can take the company to another level because it's public. And so once a company is public, they can do what they want. And so now he's finding himself without his company, which is how he's defined himself all of these years. So now they're both going through this big, like tumultuous transition together, but they meet each other in the process, and the chemistry is like way too thick to try to ignore.
Okay, so it sounds like a combination of romance and the women's fiction piece,
Yeah.
which
Right.
a real
Which
growing
I like.
among the black authors.
Mhm.
Women's fiction is expanding more and more. It's more beyond romance. It's not limited to romance, and so that's a growing area.
Mhm.
But it sounds like an intriguing story. Now, is it somewhat autobiographical? Are there any autobiographical aspects to it?
Girl, my life is way too bland for all of this. I get up, I go to work, I got kids, I got a husband. It's just it's the same thing over and over again. But there's always little bits and pieces that I like to draw from my life and put into the books. Like South Carolina, my mother hails from South Carolina. It's a big part of my life. I traveled back and forth to my South Carolina all my life. My aunts, the majority of my mother's family lives there. So that was kind of paying homage to South Carolina. My friend went through a difficult couple of years. She's had like multiple surgeries because of her cancer scare. And she ended up with the BRCA1 gene. So part of that, her story is really paying homage to my girlfriend and all that she'd been through. And I always like to put something we can learn or some way to raise awareness. And so I wanted to raise awareness about the BRCA1 gene. So that's why, it's just a little piece of a story, but it's enough for if you have, several people in your family who has either had breast cancer or, have passed from breast cancer, and you are not aware of this BRCA1, hereditary type of gene that really significantly increases your chances of developing breast cancer if you have the gene. Because I had just learned about it when she went through it. At least so it may cause someone to say, wait a minute, this aunt and my grandmother, maybe I need to go to my doctor and say, should I be tested for this genetic, strain or whatever.
This is what I love about fiction, though, because there are people out there who will never pick up a nonfiction self-help type book, but they can see the same subject in fiction and they can kind of latch on to the subject a little bit better, and it makes it real for them because they see the characters as people.
Yep.
And so if this character can go through it, then maybe I can go through it. Or this character broke it down in such a way that now I understand. And it may inspire them to read up on it a little bit more, or to get checked, or to do research, or to learn more. Whatever it is, they're doing that because they found it in a fiction book. And that's one of the reasons why I love fiction so much. And I'm just like you, Renee. I'm never going to put I know I'm saying never, and that's a strong word, but I'm probably never going to put my entire life into a book. But I will draw from certain times that I have certain experiences, or
Right.
I might draw from personalities of people I know when I'm building my characters. But I don't know that I'm ever going to just totally put my entire self into a book. So
No.
I admire people who do memoirs or base their personal business on a character, or base their character in their personal business. That's just not me.
No, not at all. I don't think I want to know all that stuff anyway.
Yeah, if I were gonna do something, it wouldn't be like I was born here and this is where I was raised here and that. It would be a book about arcs in my life.
Mhm.
And tremendous miracles. I don't think I'm gonna write that book, although you've given me some food for thought. Rhonda, you may have planted a bug. You never know what your next book or next like five books down the road But some of the things that have happened to me over the course of my life have been, uh, I don't want to say bizarre, but they're unusual.
Mhm.
Um, and people can learn from it, and also know that almost anything is possible. If you use your imagination and if you really
Yeah.
believe in yourself,
Mhm.
you can just really do anything. Nobody can really stop you. Not today. Now, our ancestors, and we just talked about the Middle Passage, and those poor souls that perished along the way, and then the ones that got here, what the horrors they had to deal with.
Mhm.
But we can dream big dreams and pursue them, and it's about navigating more than anything else. So,
Mhm. It's not
uh,
much that can stop us these days, right?
yeah,
Right.
it's really you can stop yourself with
That's it.
self-doubt, but if you have a plan, you can execute it, and that does work.
Mhm.
So now, is Unlikely Neighbors a one-off? Is it just one story, or is this part of a series of books?
So this is one story. Now it could be a series because you got some supporting characters in there. But this is one book because the new imprint, the previous imprints that I wrote for with Harlequin were all very focused on series. But this new imprint is not focused on series. So this is
Oh,
a
okay.
standalone. Hmm.
Okay, now what was the
Okay.
imprint again? Because you said it was a new imprint.
This is Afterglow Books under Harlequin.
Afterglow.
Mhm.
Afterglow. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to
Now,
look into Afterglow because from the way you described it, it doesn't sound like a straight formulaic romance. They're
Right.
they're looking for they're looking for more layers to it.
Yeah.
That might be something I can write about. I can't do the formulaic romance.
Right. Yeah, I totally understand that. I do. I sometimes did feel bound by that because Rhonda, we wrote similar stuff. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
we've had the family drama and, rich in conflict and, all of those things. So I did, there was a lot less conflict, but I really did enjoy this process more because I kind of got back to what I used to do,
Yeah.
where there was, you had more, it's more word count too, so you can get a little more in depth, with what's going on with the characters. And if you notice, when you take a look at a lot of the romances that are coming out right now, it's this is a trend that's really pushing forward and people have enjoyed it. They want more depth. They want more from the characters. They want more conflict. They want, they want to be engaged emotionally more as opposed to just the formula of boy meets girl, boy, they want to go up
Right,
below the
right.
surface a little more. So you'll see a lot of the popular romance authors this is the industry is just trending this way. The readers just wanted a little bit more depth. So,
mhm. And women aren't like the women of 50 years ago.
mm-mm.
They're involved in all kinds of careers and professions, and
Mm-hmm.
they
Yeah,
have their own money. It's a different environment,
yeah,
and so we need to write about the now. When you're doing contemporary romance, you need to write about what's happening now with
exactly.
people.
Hmm.
So tell us a little bit more about your nonprofit and how you were able to. It sounds like it was just like almost like a straight line. You went from going into this place to meet the young ladies, and then it was a few more steps, and then you had the nonprofit.
Yeah,
So
it
is that
sounds very quick, but it wasn't that quick. But
okay?
it took years. So I was
Okay.
in corporate. I used to be in corporate marketing, and those moments changed me. And so I was looking for more and more opportunities to engage in like service and community service and work with young people. And I'd gone back to school to get a master's in creative writing because I was like, okay, I know that this is definitely the path that I want to take. And it was during my um, first time going to school for creative writing that I came across this opportunity to join this or to participate in this program called TAP, right, which is a teaching artist project. And they
Mm.
teach writers and artists and you go through this year-long program, an academic program of taking your art form. They teach you how to kind of break it down. Because when you're writing, right, you just write. You're not saying, this is what I'm doing right now when I'm writing. I'm using metaphor. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. You just write, right? If you're an artist, if you're a musician, you just, you make music. And so with this program, they really taught you how to kind of break down what you're doing and create and make it teachable, and then develop curriculum and things like that. And then after that, once I did that, then then the company hired me. And so I was going into the schools and working with other artists to develop writing and art curriculum. So I was doing curriculum in the arts and education programs, going into the public schools, and then branching off and doing it myself. So I was simultaneously working with nonprofit organizations that provided these type of programs to inner city schools through arts and education. So that gave me the opportunity to work with young people to teach writing and all of that. I ended up having to leave my first attempt to get an MFA. I had to leave because my mother got sick, and so help take care of her. But I was still working in nonprofit, so I continued at that point to work in nonprofit and to work with youth. Went back to school, then I got this other opportunity, went back to school, got my MFA, was then teaching in schools as well as teaching at the adjunct professor level. The cool part was the writing constantly kind of drew me back into the nonprofit and working with youth. And in 2015, I was asked to join this organization that I'm with now to run their programming, because now I had all this programming experience in developing curriculum and all of that. And so I went over there, and about maybe less than a year and a half later, the executive director that was running the organization was leaving, and she asked me if I was interested in her position. And I was like, girl, I stopped chasing titles back when I left corporate America. I don't know about this. I'm like, I'm having fun, like working with the youth. And she was like, but I know you can do the job. I was like, I know I could do the job. I did all the management and everything. But this is what I want to do. So I had to pray about it and figure out, in that role, how can I continue to really engage with the young people? And so, they helped me to figure out, like, in this role, I can not only engage with the young people, but I can be the person that opens the doors and creates the opportunities and develop the program, like, at a much higher level. And so 2017, I stepped into the role of executive director, and I've been running the organization ever since.
Amazing. You have just had, I am really awed at your journey.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting when you go from seeing, like I said, when we were out hustling them books back in early 2000s, and then when you see somebody who has who's taken a similar journey, and you see where they've come. I mean, I'm proud. I mean,
Thank
it's,
you.
we always talk about the celebrities and what they're doing. I was talking about people like LL Cool J and his trajectory from being a teenage rapper up to being a really, really great TV actor. And you look at Ice Cube, who's like one of the scariest gangster rappers back in the day, and now he's doing children's movies. But
Okay.
then but we forget about us, are normal people who are doing great things. So I'm going to give you your flowers publicly. Keep doing what you're doing, Renee.
Thank you, Dr. Rhonda.
Yeah, it's important that we work with our next generation that's coming up, because they have some major challenges that we didn't have. We didn't have social media and all of the distractions and access to things that were, the things that were bad for us were hard to access.
Yeah.
Now they're easy to access.
Yeah. We had to go after. We had to
actually pursue it.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to leave home.
Exactly.
And children they're not equipped with discernment. They don't. They're sponges. So we have to pray for our next generation, because it's tough.
It's tough.
And I don't want to end on a downer, I am very excited that the people like you out there, Renee, working with our young people. We only have a minute left, and we have to do our outro. So show us the copy of your book one more time. And we assume Unlikely Neighbors is available wherever books are sold. Renee Daniel Flagler. And it's good to see you. I think I may have met you once a long time ago. But it's been like in the early 2000s, like Rhonda was saying. But keep doing what you're doing and continued success.
Thank you for having me. I so appreciate it. Good to see you two both.
Good seeing you as well. Take care.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's our show for this week. Don't forget to vote for the Black Authors Matter TV Awards. The voting ends next Tuesday, so you'll get one more reminder next Tuesday with the show. And that's it for tonight. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.